Hello and welcome to the Big Bank Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Dan, it's been a 2-game week, so there's an embarrassment of riches to talk about.
Yes.
It's just embarrassing how rich it all feels.
Well, it's certainly embarrassing.
It's like Nan's roast when she's put red wine in the gravy. My Nan never did that. Didn't believe in wine.
Really?
No.
Well, it definitely exists. I've seen it.
She didn't think
Tasted
so.
it.
It never made it to the south of Ireland.
Perhaps not. No. What are they drinking over there? Guinness.
Well, she was
Beamish.
she was drinking water.
Just water.
She was 100% water or tea.
A little nip of brandy?
No.
Not at bedtime?
No.
Okay.
So her gravy was an appropriate amount of richness.
I bet she had a little,
Don't think so.
little Jamesons once in a while, or teachers.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
'Tis the devil's drink, Jonathan.
Well, true enough.
All right, so here we are. City.
Ask Niskanen.
Whoops. Last night, City were at home to Wigan Athletic. Saturday, City were at home to Stockport County. 2 northern teams. Tale of 2 towns.
Yeah.
It wasn't...
Northwest versus Southwest.
Northwest versus
Double bill.
Southwest. Carragher versus...
What's Carragher got to do with either of those two teams?
from the Northwest.
Right, yeah, both more Manchester, really, aren't they? Wigan
Versus
and
Martin
Stockport.
Rogers. Yeah, they are both more Manchester. Morrissey versus Agatha Christie.
Yes.
2 literary giants.
Yeah, I like it, yeah.
Sean Ryder versus Uncle Tom Cobley.
Yes, Ian Curtis
Yeah.
versus Chris Martin.
Yes.
Who
good.
will win?
Who will win? Well, I tell you who won. On Saturday, City were abject, and I mean that, in their defeat to Stockport County. And last night, City were average in their draw with Wigan Athletic.
Yeah, it's the everybody is over it at this point, aren't they?
So
I think.
over it. Yeah.
Not so much Stockport. They didn't really need to be.
No, they were. We assume we're enthusiastic for the game. Didn't need to be.
Well, obviously you know what happens in this, but we concede against Stockport with it just over 1 minute. It might have been 1 minute on the dot.
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
And given that we started with, I think, 7 defenders on the pitch, that was game over then, because you set up to not concede, clearly, and you do concede. It is straight away. So the whole thing is out the window. Completely out the window. Caldwell not present on the touchline for this one because he's serving first of a 2-game touchline ban. He's up in the seats.
His favourite seat.
He's
up in the gods.
He's up in the gods. It's not that. Yeah, I suppose you could have to call it that by default.
Yeah,
but
it's not
very high.
No.
He's up there.
He's up in the lanky fellas bit.
Little David Perkins is on the touchline.
Down in the doldrums.
Yeah, in the pit. In the choir pit.
In the ditch.
Yeah.
David's ditch.
It was... both the goals came within the first sort of... The second goal came about half an hour
No,
in.
I think it was 22 minutes.
There you go.
So, yeah.
And then if it wasn't game over... Well, it was game over at 1-0, but if it wasn't game over at 1-0, it really was after 2-0.
Don't worry, though, we had one shot.
Yeah, in between the 2 goals, Caleb Watts managed to have a little P-roller straight at their keeper.
Yeah.
And that was the sum total of our attacking output for the day.
People were leaving, not just at half-time, but on half an hour.
Yeah, so we were, after the impressive away win at Barnsley and the kind of energy that we showed in that game, we just said, yeah, that's what we want, okay? Like, we've gone over this a million times. On paper, job done.
Yep.
Well done. Give yourself a little pat on the back, Gary.
Now, give us something.
Now, now that's happened, can we just sort of give it a go? Yes, we can. Thanks very much. 2-1 win at Barnsley. Even if we'd drawn that game, but played in that same manner, I'd have been just as happy.
Yeah.
So we thought that, okay, well, that was 3 points further, so we're even closer to the safety. So now 2 home games. Surely let's just kind of have a laugh now. Let's have a laugh. let's play some.
Send us chuckling into the summer, Gary.
Yeah, let's give it a go and see what we can do. See, some players can play for some contracts here or elsewhere or whatever. No,
we won't be doing that.
No.
There's a moderately attacking team coming. We'll defend as if it's Verdun.
Yeah, no, not having that. Just going to be more of this sort of drab shit. Really.
Dad, it wasn't just drab, it was stupid. What a stupid way to approach a game of football where the result doesn't actually matter.
Well, yeah.
Isn't that just... He knows he's not that popular with the supporters. He knows that attendances are going down. Like, that's just fact.
Yeah, what is he driven by then? Is it stats?
I guess it's results at all costs. But this isn't like, oh, we're unbeaten. Like, you've won the league and you've managed not to concede a goal, and you might think like, oh, well, all right, that record's really worth a lot to me. There's nothing here worth achieving now that hasn't already been achieved, except customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
To put it very bluntly.
Yeah, good feeling.
Good feeling. For everyone. For you.
Well, it was the Saturday as well. Really felt like the first day of summer. It was... glorious day, warm. Everyone's kind of like in quite good spirits, consider it, because you just had that win at Barnsley, like I said. And we were like, all right, then, here we go. And then you see the team sheet. And then honestly, I was just like, all right, there we go then. That's that. And
well, it played out exactly the way one would expect.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect that many defenders to be able to concede that easily in the first minute.
He moved some things around. He took Purrington off.
But that's the thing, innit? You must think, like, if you're a player in this team, like, well, I'm changing every 3 days.
I think we haven't said the word Tinkerman enough.
No, that's right. That's what's going on.
In relation to Coldwell. It's just a constant... I know we've had injuries and stuff, but it's not even that. It's like... everything's just, like, changing. All like... That's part of having a big squad, I suppose. Like, the squad's probably a bit bloated, but it's just sort of like, I don't know.
But these players all leave in anyway.
Who after the first half of, in the first half of the Stockport game, was probably the only player you could say really had any cachet. At the end of it, like, at least he's given it. Yeah, the shot wasn't great, but at least he had one.
No, he was running.
At least he was running around and trying to look like, I'll try and do something. But he's not... He's been played in a position that it doesn't suit him. He can't play... I don't think he can play number 10, because the way we play with McGuinness, who's in the kind of Bowman, I'm just a big pole, like, just as in, just a kind of...
He's a battering ram. Yeah,
and also he's something to bounce it off, isn't he? But Watson isn't running in behind. He's more kind of like, box to box kind of guy. So he's just flicking it on to no one. He's quite good at the old flick-ons, but just flicking it on to nobody constantly. And it's just like, well, this is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone was very fed up, weren't they?
There was a bit of a change at our time. Harper came on, and then Harper didn't know where he's going, and Hartridge, no one seemed to know what was going on. Oh, because Ed Turns got smacked in the face and had to come off. Big car.
Yeah.
So then Harper comes on for him. So obviously that's a bit of a change. So then it ends up like David Perkins has to write him a note. And then he kind of gives the note to Harper, and then Harper gives the note to Archers. No one seems to know what's happening. Doesn't matter at that point, to be honest, because Stockport have kind of like gone like, we've got 2 goals. We're not likely to concede here, so let's just take the foot off the gas and have a nice kind of relaxed afternoon. So second half, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
Well, crap.
Because it couldn't have been an easier and better day for Stockport County.
Lovely. Loads of fans there, and they're really enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and it was good to see, wasn't it? Remembering what football can be like for some people. And
if anything, they would have been within their rights to say, oh, come on, with this lot of shit, let's have
a few more goals. They'll have in their minds, won't they? But they didn't
bother, because they actually have got something.
They almost certainly got playoffs.
They actually have got something to play for.
They've got a few more games than we have left.
And also, automatics possibly is not going to happen for them, but you want to keep that momentum going into the playoffs, don't you?
Yeah. Anyway, that was that. Rubbish. Just rubbish, to the point where loads of people stayed away last night.
A lot of people left early on the Saturday.
A lot of people left early on Saturday and didn't come back last night. So I think there was 5,300 there last night.
Yeah.
of which 150 were Wigan supporters. So we're basically down to 5,000 then, are we? Given it was a nice evening, it was cheaper than normal, it's the Easter holidays.
Nothing else going on.
Nothing else going on. I mean, there was some other football on the telly, which I guess ruled out a few people, but those kind of games, in recent memory, were getting 7,000.
Yeah.
So very
There's always a bit of a dip on the evening games, isn't there, I suppose? But
yeah, but there is for a reason, which is kids. But when it's the holidays...
Well, yeah, that's true,
and
yeah.
it's cheaper...
A bit cheaper, was it?
Yeah, a bit cheaper. Not a lot, but a bit. So it boggles the brain, really. And then last night, first half, were two teams who didn't seem to really know what to do with the football.
Well, two teams not playing again. But now this was kind of two teams with nothing to play for. The first half...
So Wigan directly below us.
Yeah, first half, very, very low quality football. Just very sloppy from both teams.
Point of order, though. Wigan have sacked their manager.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
These were...
Caldwell said it was harsh.
Yeah,
but I suppose he would.
Yeah.
Sonny Cox starts up last night with McGuinness, something a lot of people have been asking for. But it's a long-running kind of like thing with which... I think it's got to the point, to be honest, where I might have said things like this in the past as well, but I don't think it really massively matters personnel-wise, because it's a system it's a system we're playing that it's not a matter of going like, if this guy comes back and if this guy plays. No, the system is just not set up to attack. Now it did. Cox was trying to get beyond McGuinness.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Aimson and co kind of just snuffed all that out.
Yeah, so Will Aimson was playing centre-back for Wigan. Yeah,
you might remember Will Aimson. He used to play for Plymouth Argyle. And now he plays for Wigan.
Yeah, that's him.
Will Aimson was wearing bright orange boots.
Yeah.
And I know it's like different time to like when we were younger. But to me, Aimson is not an orange boots player.
No.
He's just not, is he?
For kids who are listening here, if you're under 18 here and you're listening, everyone wore black boots. And then in the early noughties, a few...
Late 90s, I'd say,
maybe.
Probably.
A few Premier League players, started wearing different coloured boots.
Well, it was white first, I think, wasn't it?
Was white. Well, there was a white Predator, wasn't there, which maybe Beckham wore?
Yeah, white boots started coming in. I actually got a pair of white boots very early on when I was back playing Sunday League, and let me tell you, I was also playing centre back, and I'd say I was a bit more of a white boots player than Aimson is, but I'm not saying I was as good as him. I was much better.
Yeah,
but you got kicked a bit for having white boots.
As a defender myself in the Devon and Exeter League, I made it my business to kick people wearing anything other than black boots.
Yeah, but then it kind of like just came a bit of a free-for-all. So now I don't think it really is a thing that you could be a kind of certain... Don't
forget, Tisdale and Perryman didn't let academy players wear anything but black boots.
I think that might still be the... I think that still might be the policy.
Case at Liverpool, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a thing. Like, you can't show off until you've got something to show off about.
Yeah.
Has Will Aimson got anything to show off about?
Well, no.
Still alive, I suppose.
Yeah. He's very... he is what he is. He's a kind of like agricultural centre-back. I mean, we saw him try and play with the ball. And that's why basically the big bank hounded him out of the club.
Yeah.
Anyway, it didn't really work. We had more shots last night in the first half.
Yes, we did.
Most of them went about 50 yards over.
Terrible shooting, wasn't it?
Colwell, Reece Cole, just blasting them over. And that was about it.
Niskanen had a few chances to shoot, which dribbled.
He also, Niskanen also sort of like kept hoofing the crosses like... About,
good 20 yards in the wrong direction.
20 yards over everybody's head. And that was the first half, really, just kind of like... And it was...
it was rubbish. It was one of those games where...
really bad.
It really reminded me of 90s City, where it's just in the air.
Yeah.
Just in the air. Take a touch, lads. Get it down.
We didn't touch the ball for about the first 10 minutes.
No.
Anyway, so that was crap. First half. And then
Well, when we conceded, didn't we? There's a penalty.
Yeah, then we gave away this penalty.
5 minutes into the second half.
Yeah. It's no doubt about Angus McDonald, who didn't have his best game, but has been pretty good on the whole. Leaves his legs sticking out, and their player goes over it. Easy penalty for David Rock, the referee, to give.
Is that his name?
You know him.
David Rock.
David Rock. Yeah, we've had him loads. We've talked about him a lot.
I know I can smell what he's cooking.
Yeah, penalties. Yes. Penalty soup.
Yes. Imagine if he did that. Just started shouting, can you smell what David Rock's cooking?
He may well be doing that. We don't know. The refs aren't mic'd up.
He's not making enough of a play of it, if you ask me.
He's not doing the people's eyebrow.
He's not. Unless he is and we can't see it.
Yeah. Anyway, penalty taken.
He gave the people
smashed
penalty.
It down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we kind of woke up.
We did.
Suddenly there was loads of attacking pressure.
One of us did. So basically, as far as I could tell, this was just a case of, well, a couple of things, but mainly Reece Cole just decided to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And that, in a lot recently, is what we have been really sorely missing.
Yeah. Is
someone to actually stand up and go, I'm going to do something about this.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to kind of like show for this and go, right, let's do something here. We've had it so many, especially against Stockport, against Wrexham.
Yeah.
There was another game, was it Charlton or
Lincoln.
something? Lincoln.
Yeah.
But just someone to go like, right, I'm doing something about this. And he just clicked into gear. He put in about 4 or 5 like really good crosses. You know, which I know he's had a lot of injury problems this season, and we haven't seen the Reece Cole of last season really at all. But he's got a lovely technique for a cross.
Yeah.
And we just saw it a few times, and it looked like, okay, he looks like he's getting going. And then we have a long throw. Hartridge, who was excellent again, by the way, and has probably been our best player second half of the season. Launches one into the middle. The defender, Wigan defender, unfortunately not Aimson, I think, just flicks it to try and flick it away, but it drops to Reece Cole, who catches it.
Yep.
On the volley, but it hits it into the ground and into the top corner, and it's a lovely goal. And I feel like he just made it happen. And
he was delighted.
Quite right.
But he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He's really, really pleased to score. It's a little bit of what we've been needing, which is a bit of character.
Yeah, agreed.
Someone to show a bit of character and go like, look, we need to do something here. We're at home. We've got this massive stand of people that looks like less full than it did last week.
Yeah.
Let's try and get something going. And fair play to Reece Cole, who, like I said, last season was probably one of our best players, if not our best player. And great goal and deserved draw.
Well, we had a lot more pressure, didn't we? I can't think of a specific thing where there were a couple of goal line clearances, weren't there, where we could have.
Yeah, there was no real other kind
of.
We didn't really force the keeper into anything. It wasn't like a complete kind of like, oh, here we go.
But it was it was some pressure.
Yeah,
been missing it badly.
It was better, and also we saw. We think it's the home debut, don't we, of Andrew Olawabori.
Yep.
He came on, and I thought, looked like
he wanted to get the ball and run with it, didn't he?
Not bad.
Pat Jones, of course, came on for about 5 minutes in the Stockport game and managed to get injured.
Yeah, looks like that might be him out for the season as well.
He's one of our best.
Yeah, real shame.
Real shame. Fitzwater came in for Ed Turns, and fair play to him. He didn't just appear kind of subtly in the background. He'd come dressed as a judge in his judge's wig.
His hair is, it's getting there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting into judge's wig territory.
It certainly is, yeah.
I thought he did quite well.
Fitzwater?
Yeah.
I think he's a good backup, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think if John Lee, Turns, McDonald, Hartridge, I mean, who knows what happens with Hartridge next year, but if those 3 or 4 are our first choice, Fitzwater can very well deputise.
I thought he's been reliable pretty much every time he's been called upon.
I'd agree with that. And also, there's still Purrington in that mix.
Yeah.
We are. When you look at it on paper, when you ignore the fact this is some strange activity with low knees, and when you ignore some of the really kind of bizarre choices, Ed Francis staying there for 6 games in a row or whatever, there's the makings of something good here, various positions. Macmillan, when he's asked to do certain jobs, does it well. etc., etc.
I think we've got a decent squad. I think we've got a squad that's capable of probably more than it's shown.
If Caldwell went tomorrow, he's got the Wigan job. I'd think, okay, there's something good to build on here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it's not going to happen, but
no. And I thought we saw a little bit more of Joel Caldwell last night, second half. So I thought he showed a little bit more of what he could do.
Yeah. What we saw on Saturday with Tony was a little bit less of the excitement I felt at the beginning.
Yeah, kept falling over, didn't he, poor old Tony? But he's again.
Will it take a stud, Tony? They asked before the game. No, boys, I'm wearing my daps.
Yeah,
I'll be wearing the ballet shoes tonight, lads.
Yeah, I don't need anything else.
I won't.
I'm Tony.
Frictions for wimps, he said.
Yeah, Tone. So
yeah, so that was that. I mean, good to get a point.
Yeah, in the end, I left last night feeling like we saw a little bit of signs of kind of like fight, and that they actually were bothered. I wasn't shouting "release them all" at the
no, which you were doing on Saturday.
Yeah,
you weren't. I cycled to the game, as I always do, and cycled the length of our road with one of our neighbours, who told me he'd been a supporter since 1960 something.
Was he also cycling?
He was also cycling.
Right.
He wasn't coming to the game because he'd had enough of it. He said a lot of swear words in relation to the management, and
a lot of people are staying away.
People are staying away. So, but I felt like you
know what I mean. Like, times are tight, aren't they? You know, everyone's feeling the pinch financially.
Yeah,
football's expensive.
Yeah,
and it's a kind of, you know,
it's a luxury.
It's a luxury
these days.
That money responsibly could be spent better elsewhere.
Yeah.
But so you can't really blame people.
I don't blame anyone at all. But bizarrely, after such 1 point from potential 6 and one terrible performance, we've managed to move up the league and pull away from the relegation zone.
Yeah. So how many points are we on now?
49.
I mean, it's been job done for a while, but it's absolutely. We're 15th, right?
We're 15th.
Where did we finish last season? 13th.
13th. I mean, it's possible. It's unlikely. So Burton, top of the relegation zone, are on 39. We're on 49. And yeah, there's 5 teams in between us and them. So it's done. We'll definitely get 50 points. We'll probably get more like mid-50s, I'd imagine. There's 5 games to go.
Yep.
We've got to play some teams below us still. Bristol Rovers on Saturday.
Yep.
Mansfield, last game of the season. So, you know, I'd imagine we'll hit 53, 54.
Yes, and even if we don't, points wise, that will be job done.
It's interesting, the Burton Bristol Rovers thing. Obviously, we can do Burton a massive favour Saturday.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we can almost relegate them, Bristol Rovers, by beating them if Burton are then to win their own game. That might
and Burton have got a game in hand over Bristol Rovers.
Yeah,
so Burton could overtake them. They've got a better goal average.
Yeah.
If we beat Bristol Rovers on Saturday. So yeah, that's a
big if.
It's a big if. And then I think Shrewsbury, what are they now? 13 points from safety with 5 games left. So potential 15 points left.
Yeah.
So they're basically done.
So they'll be relegated on Saturday.
They'll be relegated on Saturday if they don't win.
Is that right?
If Bristol Rovers win on Saturday, beat us, Shrewsbury are already down.
There you go. Right.
So there you go. That's the state of things. More about what's coming up in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bank Theory podcast. Remember, you can email us, bigbankpod@gmail.com. Thanks to Sam, who sent us a load of miserable stats. You're absolutely right, Sam. Before, when was this sent? Thursday. So before Saturday's game, we were 23rd in the league with average shots on target. Well, obviously Saturday didn't improve that at all. With 1 shot on target. Last night was slightly better, but I think we probably only had 2, maybe 3. Our winning possession in the other team's half is very low. Obviously, as we know, it's really bad football with moments of, oh, this is okay football. That's the narrative of the season, isn't it?
Well, it's okay football.
No, it's generally very bad football.
Right, yeah.
With occasional moments, oh, this is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
And obviously, you don't have to do much. We're easily pleased, Exeter City. As we said, position in the league, great. As we've said, recruitment, pretty good. Slightly lopsided, but some of the players brought in have been excellent.
Yeah.
Filling the squad with loanees and academy players being left out in the cold, very strange.
Yeah, to be fair do you remember when Tisdale used to never get any loans in?
Yes.
Better, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was. I know it's a bit different because we were in mostly in League Two, but he never used to use the loan market that much and just played academy players. Speaking of which, where is Jake Richards all of a sudden? Where's he gone?
I guess he's off,
He's never even on the bench.
No, I guess he's off. But yeah, it's very strange all round. Why aren't they communicating that?
He might well be off, but he's not gone yet, has he? And why not just, he's good.
Because he hasn't got a contract. Maybe his agent said, well, we'd like you not to play him, please.
I suppose that sort of stuff we can't know. Also, I was looking at these. Wasn't sent to me. I just saw it on Twitter. Simon Hawkins. 4 wins this calendar year.
Yep.
And 16 goals in 18 games.
Yep.
That's not... I know that's only one side of the, but that's...
When we look back on this season...
You can add 2 to that now, because 2 in... so it would be 18 in 20.
By the end of the season, I'll have watched 20 Exeter City matches, right? Missed a few at home. Oh no, more than that actually, because of the Cup. But 20 league games. And what I look back on it, is a fairly average League One, with a couple of real high points, obviously, one in particular, and not much else to be afraid of, and yet we played in a terrified manner. That's what we'll look back on it on. And like we were saying last week, Coldwell's approach is stop the boat sinking, stop the boat taking in water before we try and row across the river. Yeah. Which isn't an enjoyable spectacle for us.
No, but it does keep the boat afloat.
That's what he would say.
Yes.
And that's what we'll say, because this hasn't been a spectacular league. I would say of the teams below second, we could get results against all of them on some days.
Yeah.
And yet we've approached it as if anyone above us in the league, and we're currently in 15th, we should, at all costs, resist temptation to attack.
But that's certainly how it seems. I mean, you can only go from... I mean, we've season ticket holders. You can't really... Yeah, fair enough. I haven't been to many away games this season. But you can, we're the paying customers. I'm not saying we pay our money so we want Coldwell sacked. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I've been to all the home games, and I didn't enjoy them.
No, that's right.
The one I did enjoy was Nottingham Forest in the Cup.
That's a game where you're playing third in the Premier League, where you think this is going to have to be a counter-attack kind of game. Fine, that makes sense. We only played Nottingham Forest once this year.
Yeah.
We played Birmingham twice. Fine. Everyone else, Wrexham included, wasn't it worth a go? I'm not saying here, by the way, we should be in the playoffs. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, come on. Come on, give us a chance here.
Well, I mean, and in the past, previously, before we kind of got ourselves to safety, you could quite easily sort of make a counter argument to this, going well, no, safety first will work, and then you would have been proved right, because in terms of pure points, pure stats, it has worked. We are exactly where we wanted to be, where everybody said that was an achievement. It is an achievement. But it's just been going on for a bit too long now, that it's just yeah, I mean, how many more seasons of very low goals scored, very low shots even taken, to maintain between 13th and 16th or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How many seasons of that is it till we go like, yeah, well, I don't know. Like, is that?
I don't know. I was thinking about it because I think if sport's on the telly, I'll watch it. I'll watch almost anything, right? And
any sport.
I'll watch almost anything.
Tiddlywinks.
Yeah, I'd have a go. I won't watch
trampolining.
I used to live with someone who always watched poker on the telly.
Well, that's not a sport. It's a parlour game.
Right. Well, I won't watch that. I don't watch horse racing or horse dancing. What's that called?
Dressage.
Yeah, I don't watch that.
But why do you not watch that? Because you don't find it entertaining, or you think it's cruel?
I don't watch horse racing because I think it's cruel. I don't watch dressage because what the hell is it?
Well, it's lovely dancing by some horses.
I just can't get my head around it. But almost anything else.
Bear baiting?
Won't watch bear baiting. Also cruel. Of those sports...
So they do a sort of Super Sunday for bear baiting?
Maybe in Russia. I don't know.
Yeah.
Putin's got his shirt off in the crowd. Of those sports, there are maybe, 30% that are watched by a lot of people. Right? So rugby, I don't really watch rugby, but that's one, isn't it? All the other versions of football, American, Australian, Gaelic, cricket, baseball, what else?
Ice hockey,
basketball, Formula One, right? Those are the ones that everyone watches.
Golf.
And they're exciting. Golf, they're exciting. Okay?
Snooker,
they're exciting. I quite happily watch athletics. Not many people in the crowd, right? It's not that exciting.
Athletics used to be a big deal though back in the sort of 80s and the 90s, didn't it?
Yeah, I guess it did, but never like tens of thousands of people. Obviously, the Olympics is something else. So I was like, what's the difference? Why can't I satisfy myself with watching football and thinking I'm just enjoying watching the sport? And I suppose what it comes down to is Exeter City and every other football club relies upon our love, and that's what it is, isn't it? An obsession with both the game and the team, the club. Right? That's our club. Yeah. I'll watch them whatever happens. I'm desperate for them to win. I'm not desperate for Usain Bolt to win. I'm interested to see how fast he goes. And then, of course, the byproduct of that is we'll pay loads of money to not just watch the sport, just watch football, but buy all the stuff. We all pay loads of money. The amount of money that goes into football is billions, right? So therefore, we have a buy-in to be able to, and of course the players and the people that are involved in the club, the managers and whatever, make a lot of money off of our love for the thing.
Yeah.
In a way that a cross-country runner doesn't make anything. They're also a doctor. So that is why we get to say this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
Because we pay...
Well, even more so Exeter City, because our whole thing is that we are trust-owned, it's fan-owned.
Yeah, so doubly so.
Yeah.
And there are men and women in our club, in our supporter base, who've put in absolutely thousands of hours to make sure that club's sustained for no money.
Well, I mean, essentially kind of dedicated their lives to it.
We're not that.
Those people, no.
But that's what our club is. That's what our club's built on, the 20 years of trust ownership. So we do get to say, on both levels, well, we just want to enjoy it, actually. We don't think it's all right just to stay in League One at all costs.
Yeah, well, I think, absolutely. And I think that's a completely valid point. I suppose if you are one of those people that, has given your kind of life to the club in that manner, you are also entitled to the opinion that you do on that. There might be I'm sure there's people out there who think, I don't care, I just want to stay in League One. And fair enough, that's a valid opinion too.
I would wager, though,
I don't know how long you could keep that up, because it's really at its, as much as you kind of might really love to be part of something, surely no one can. It is about enjoyment at the end of the day, and you can't. It's literally impossible to enjoy watching us lose 2-0 to Stockport and not having, a single. Apart from
we have one shot,
one very
not
tame
just one
shot
on target. One.
You can't. So
that's right. So that's the trade-off, and I think no one's going to listen to us. I think we'll keep doing this until something drastic happens, and the drastic things that could happen are relegation out of... I think Gary would keep his job if we went out of League One. I do.
There's definitely a good chance he would.
Maybe relegation out of League Two, he'd lose his job, because that's catastrophic for us. Obviously, if he leaves, things change. Or if there's a massive overhaul of how things work. That would be an enormous investment.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah.
So let's say 20,000 people joined the trust and we started paying £5 each. Like, let's say someone got voted onto the trust with that being their manifesto, and they said, what I'm going to do is really increase trust participation and money brought in, and therefore the trust can make more drastic decisions about how the football looks or something. So, or an outside investor comes in and says, I want to invest. Still be part of the trust system, but
because we've seen the accounts, haven't we? And it's all, as always, still very much reliant on player sales.
Yeah.
And I think probably the trust membership thing brings in.
Yeah, it's a small percentage,
an insignificant kind of amount, really. But yeah.
So if there was something like that, some big change, then you could see things changing. But I think until then, this is just the way it's going to be, and I think that's sad. That I'd be interested to see how the season tickets sell next year. Because I'm thinking like that's kind of my only protest vote. I'll still go to all the games. I'm only punishing myself by ending up spending more money. But would that be taken seriously if instead of 3,500 season tickets, there were 2,500?
Possibly, yeah.
Or the gates go from 7,000 to 4,500?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Anyway, that's by the by. That's who I feel like we are at the minute. It's curious.
I know, it's a strange thing, really, isn't it?
This is all off the back of Barnsley and showing that we can do it. That's my thing.
Well, another glimpses as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a strange thing, really, isn't it, to be kind of, and I get why it puts, people who make the decisions in an awkward situation, because if you have got kind of like general kind of unrest or kind of indifference or outright rage. You've got that coming in at you, but on paper you hit every target that's been offered to you, and you're good mates with the guy that they don't like. You know?
I mean, I wonder if that's like we've said before. There's kind of blurring of lines there, and what would it take for that systematically to change?
I think
director of football.
It is what it is, but I think probably next time. I think when he eventually does go, Colwell, I think it might be an idea, or at least to look at the possibility of having someone who's less of a kind of like holistic, all-round kind of manager guy. Do you know what I mean? Like we've always had in the past, which is still done in English football, especially at our level. But perhaps you could move to a slightly more of a kind of head coach, director of football kind of thing, where there's a few more kind of. It's not quite as big a deal. The guy isn't quite so much the figurehead of the club,
Yeah, that's
so
right.
when things go wrong or things aren't quite satisfactory, you kind of think it's a bit easier to kind of like move people on and shift things around.
Yeah. Anyway, there we are. It is what it is. Next up, then, it's Bristol Rovers at the what's it called now? Memorial Stadium. It's always been called that.
Yes, the Mem.
The Mem. We could put them firmly into relegation with a win.
I think, yeah.
Burton are a game in hand.
If Burton win on the weekend and we beat Bristol Rovers, I think
Burton have a game in hand still.
They still have a game in hand. That
they would swap places.
Looks really bad. Then I think that might be the kind of could well be the nail in the coffin for Bristol Rovers. They've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, be nice to sink them, wouldn't it?
And we, on looking at their remaining fixtures and looking at all their fixtures, Exeter City at home is somewhere where you think that's where we need to get points from.
Yeah.
So if they don't and Burton do, they're in deep trouble.
Well, let's see a Reece Cole-led attacking performance.
He'll be on the bench. He will.
I know he will. Madness. Well, if you're going, enjoy your day. We'll be back early next week.
There's only one game next week,
next
right?
week, and then we're on Good Friday, Easter Monday.
Oh, Easter.
Yeah. So, we'll be back after Bristol Rovers to guide you through to the end of the season. 5 games left, lads. Keep your heads up.
5 games left, 4 podcasts probably. If that. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan. Cheers.
See you soon.